Hello, I'm Joe,
And TJ?
and we are the Schoolhouse 302. And this is our Read This series, which is a segment of our One Thing series, which is a book that you want to read to get better, learn more, and just be an overall better educator. This month, we are focused on Courageous Adventures, written or authored by Jennie Magiera. And we had a tremendous podcast session with her that you can always go back to listen if you haven't done so yet. But this month has been about innovation, right, TJ? We have really wanted to focus on innovation in the classroom, innovation in education, what that looks like. COVID has forced us into this realm much faster and in really uncharted ways as before. So we thought this was beyond appropriate as we move into this next phase of post vaccination. What would learning look like? How do we embrace innovation as a system? And then we thought, you know what? There's some great books out there to help guide us. And one of those books is Courageous Adventures. TJ, would you mind launching into why you like this book specifically?
Sure thing, Joe. I first off, I really think courageous being in the title is awesome. And a lot of what we've experienced recently, we've seen educators really be courageous with new strategies, new platforms, new learning environments, new modes of learning. And, with just a shout out to all the educators who are innovating out there towards the end of a really rocky school year. And speaking of rocky, I like the analogy that Jenny uses in the book in terms of taking this through the whitewater rafting and sailing and just the rocky adventure that this has been for us recently. I like this book because it's a problem-based approach. She makes no qualms about the fact that we can approach innovation and the use of technology in the classroom by uncovering our problems and seeing the ways that we can solve them through innovation, through technology. And so really just defining the problem and getting right at it with a solution. There's a huge section in the book about that. Um, and I just really enjoyed that type of approach to learning. And I think too, Joe, it goes back to the blog we wrote recently about innovation and the one strategy for incremental, just taking that first step, incremental innovation. We can always iterate. But if we never really get off the starting blocks, we can't see something new and different for kids. And I think we've done a great job through COVID, and I hope a lot of what we've learned will last and really revolutionize and help us reimagine the future.
Yeah, I totally agree. There's a few things that I like about this book that I think our audience will also like. There's no doubt that technology is ever changing. Jenny specifically addresses that she tried to write this book in a way that it would transcend trends. And I think that's actually an important acknowledgement because we know that all the time within technology, it's ever changing. However, how do we take that technology as a tool to enhance the learning environment? And so one thing that stuck out immediately when we were researching, what are we going to celebrate this month as a read for our listeners? It's a big deal for us to feature one book, and it has to be something that we believe in. One thing, TJ, that stuck out immediately with me is this matrix that she has. It's a technology innovation integration matrix. Sorry. And also, she features the SAMR model. A lot of people are familiar with Tim, they're familiar with SAMR, but that's just the beginning. That sets the stage for what then she continues to develop, and how that can be owned. The technology can be owned by teachers, it can be owned by students, and how it can transform learning. Because we all know that the teacher student relationship is incredible. We know that pedagogy is vital. All of these things build what we love to refer to as a learning culture. She inserts technology into that environment to make it that much better. And she clearly articulates in the book how to do that. And I think that's a massive win for people, even if they're slightly hesitant. And so that's a major takeaway for me, because I think if you don't have some of those foundational models, you can have a passive approach to technology versus an active approach to technology in a classroom. And that's another key piece of this book as well.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'll just close us off by saying she also has a strong passion for professional learning, and just like building networks of people who are doing this work to mentor each other, but also to lean on each other as we get better and to learn from one another. And I just encourage everybody out there to do that. And even what she introduced to us, which was that new Google certified coaching program that's free. And
Yeah, that's
so,
incredible. I had no idea that was available. I mean, I know there's some badges out there, but and I like the idea. She said this to us as well. In that program, you got to read the book. I think that's smart. It's anchored in a really good read. And then it's free, as you mentioned, which is incredible. And you're developing skills. I think it's also a demonstration of Google's commitment to education as well.
so true. Joe, let's leave everybody with a tip. You got a reading tip for leaders. Leaders are readers, and we need to read but consume and also retain. Any tips today?
Yeah, I think with this one, and you hit on it, TJ, I think this is a book that you have to read with a book club. I think you get a couple other people that are interested. This is not something that you're going to read, take as she even refers to, as an island on your own. I think this is something you read with a few colleagues, buckle down. We're launching in the summer. It would be great to do it in the summer and then try stuff, really start reflecting on your practice, things you can do. But I do think with a book like this, it would be better read with a few others that doesn't even matter their skill level. I think that are just passionate about improving their instruction. That's the prerequisite in my book to read this book, passionate about instruction. And then if you have a few people in that same boat, then I think you'll transform your classroom with some awesome technology that we're starting to see emerge really throughout COVID.
Great tip. Reach out to us too. If you're going to start a book club, especially if you're going to start it with Courageous Edventures, we want to hear about it. We want to know what you're reading. We want to know if you want us to review a book or dive into a topic. We appreciate the likes, the follows, the shares. You can always find our content at theschoolhouse302.com on SoundCloud, iTunes, and all of the platforms you use for reading and listening. We hope to see you next time.